Aaron Rodgers yesterday on Pat McAfee's show said something I think we all understand, don't we? I mean, don't we all understand that if Aaron Rodgers was in the playoffs, if the Jets were in the playoffs, Rodgers would try to make it back? Don't we figure that? And if Rodgers, being a smart guy that he is, I do think that with him out of the playoffs, he's done. He's not coming back this year. I don't know that he could have ever came back. He has indicated that he could, but he won't. It wouldn't be smart. Look, anybody that's ever had an Achilles will tell you that the time frame that he thought or he proposed to be on just isn't reasonable. It really isn't reasonable. Now, people have asked me, I was on Charlie's show this morning, and people have asked me, hey, look, do you think the Jets should stay with Rodgers? Well, the answer is, of course. Don't you think they have to stay with Rodgers? You get an NFL quarterback, you got to stay with him. And Rodgers has given them absolutely zero on field. Not his fault. He's hurt. But all he's really contributed is whatever they got out of Hard Knocks. Season tickets, I'm sure, went through the roof when he announced he was coming. But they got nothing, a zero from him relative to on the field. And they're paying him a lot of money. So you got him under contract for another year. So let's go. Look, I think it's an absolute no-brainer. And I'm always surprised. Like, there's a lot of people on Twitter and other places that are like, yeah, I'd move on from him. Well, the question then becomes who you moving on to, Sean Black. I mean, look, in Cleveland, they're on their like fifth quarterback. Deshaun Watson, MIA. DTR is okay. Now you're on Joe Flacco, and you're winning. But here's the problem with the New York Jets, and tell me I'm wrong. Joe Douglas, the general manager of the New York Jets, and Robert Saleh and everybody involved looks even dumber for drafting Zach Wilson second. Think about this. You've got guys like a 39-year-old Joe Flacco. You've got guys like Gardner Minshew. You've got guys like Jake Browning leading teams into playoff contention after the clear number one quarterback went down. Now, it's a little different. From this standpoint, Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer, but it's also a little different in the positive for the Jets because their backup quarterback, Zach Wilson, was a number 2 pick in the draft. I mean, let's be honest. Case Keenum's been on 15 different teams. Gardner Minshew actually was kind of sort of given a job with Jacksonville, couldn't hold it. Then they drafted over him. Then he got cut. Then he went on. And Jake Browning, well, he just beat the Vikings and lost his mind because the Vikings cut him 2 times once without even telling him. But you got the number 2 pick in the draft who's only in his 3rd year, and this guy can't do what these other guys are doing? That makes you look worse. So this whole thing with Rodgers, as we sit here right now, unless you're just going to say interest and season tickets, has been a complete bust. And you go forward, and it's an even bigger bust because Zach Wilson looks even worse. And I know, honest to God, what do I tell you, Indiana fans? Mommies, daddies need to be off Twitter and social media. Well, it's the same thing in the NFL. Anybody heard from Eli Apple ever since his mommy became a star? Zach Wilson's mommy is not, well, he's got concussions. Well, shut up. You know what Zach Wilson's mom should do, seriously? Just be hot. Just be a MILF. Just be a hot MILF. Get your bikini, little ski bunny outfit, go down the slopes. But I'm telling you, mommies and daddies in the media, on social media, commenting on, making excuses, demanding, are just stupid. Kim Mulkey, I guarantee you, Kim Mulkey told, I promise you, she told those mothers way back a couple weeks ago that were going at each other on social media to shut the hell up. Now, you fans like it because, look, CJ Gunn's dad is talking on social media while CJ Gunn can't play dead. He's a player at Indiana. I've said this since a guy named Bobby Capabianco. Bobby Capabianco, when social media first got going, was a player at Indiana. Nice kid, nice family. But mommy was on the social media tour. She was on the Peaks, the message boards. She was on Twitter. Guess what happened? Guess what? Didn't go well for Bobby Capabianco. Next thing you know, mommy has to start arguing. Mommy has to make excuses. Guess what then happened? Bobby Capabianco ended up at Valpo. Same thing with Mike Woodson's little daughter. Mike Woodson's little daughter was coming at me. Mike Woodson's little daughter was coming at everybody. She doesn't have a job. She's a little influencer. And now when it's like, hey, Ben, you can barely beat Moorhead. You don't beat anybody any good. You don't hear nothing. It's never good. When my son was playing at Michigan and at Ohio State, I didn't say jack squat about him, Michigan, or Ohio State. I didn't say nothing. Zero. Zip. Zilch. It never freaking ends well. Don't do it. Look, you're Jake Fromm's mom. You're hot. Go be hot. You're Zach Wilson's mom. You're hot. Go be hot. Nobody needs your philosophy. Nobody needs your excuses. It doesn't end well. Zach Wilson is struggling. It hasn't gone well for him. He's made a lot of money. You know, he's had a lot of sex apparently, but Zach Wilson's mother is trying to be a blogger. And I've always said this about mommies and daddies. Stay off social media, at least about your children's athletic career. I did it. Lee did it with her daughter. I mean, I don't even think Lee showed like great plays that Tegan did. I did, but I don't even know if Lee did because, well, Lee and I understand it doesn't go well. But Zach Wilson apparently, according to his mom, suffered serious head trauma during a loss to Miami when his mother, Lisa, claimed he lost the ability to see properly after taking multiple hits. He hid the symptoms but kept playing. Here's at life according to Lisa.
Yesterday was a little bit rough. Zach took some really, really big hits, and he fought through it and really tried to just stay out on the field. He didn't want to go off. He didn't want to stop playing. So he didn't really tell the sideline, the coaches, the trainers how he was really feeling. And he tried to just fight through it and keep going, and so he could be out there for his guys. And then finally, after one more blow to the head, he really started having problems with blurred vision and his depth perception, and he started really worrying that he was actually going to hurt his team if he stayed out there because his vision was not right, and you can't play like that.
Yeah, if you want a tutorial on what not to do, that's what not to do. Like, you may sit there and go, oh, isn't that nice? His mother's defending him. Zach Wilson has to deal with that. Zach Wilson now has to deal with doctors and trainers and coaches that are like, wait a second here. Why is your mother doing this? Why do we now have to deal with this? Why do we now have to discuss something that who knows if it's true or not? I don't know whether it's true or not. But now he's got to deal with it because his mommy is defending him. And then he's got to deal with the not really outwardly, like people aren't outwardly going to say, hey, mama's boy, but just the side eye, the laugh. Let me put it this way. Did you ever see Michael Jordan's mother do that? Did you ever see Peyton Manning's mother do that? Did you ever see Tom Brady's mother do that? Did you ever see Derrick Henry's mother do that? I mean, I'm just saying, think of the great players. Now, I'm always only using great players because if you're the second pick, and did you ever see LeBron James? I guess his mother was kind of weird for a little bit. You ever see Isaiah's mom do that? I mean, you ever see Magic or Bird or Steph Curry's? I mean, they cheer, they root, but they're not out there making excuses for their kid. You just don't. You just simply don't do that. And I can't emphasize this enough to you guys that are parents. You know, your buddy, hey, little buddy, he's not little buddy anymore if he's playing in college or he's playing in the NFL. They can handle it. Like I said last year when that Braden Smith had to have his question answered by his teammate, Zach Edey. Look, Braden Smith's a first-team Big Ten, all Big Ten player. That's greatness, in my opinion. I have so much respect for the Big Ten that if you're a freshman, first-team all Big Ten, are you kidding me? You don't need a teammate to answer any questions for you. period. If you're a freshman and you're just getting in the starting lineup, and yeah, maybe. But just don't do it, mommies and daddies. Don't do it. It may make you feel good. Look, my little buddy Zach, I defend. No.